Hey friends, Sarah here. Let's make some pancakes, except this time a quick version. So instead of having to make our batter overnight, we can just whip them up in the morning like most pancakes. So while still using our sourdough starter. Now I have a book here. It's The American Frugal Housewife, written in 1833 by Lydia Marie Child. And we use this all the time as a reference out on the grounds in Prairie Town. And I just wanted to say that normally we think of pancakes being leavened with baking soda or baking powder, but we didn't always have access to baking soda and baking powder because it just simply wasn't invented yet. And this time, her chemical leavening is pearl ash. And she says a teaspoon of pearl ash, dissolved in some water or some milk. So pearl ash tends to be a very bitter substance, and so even though you needed enough of it to make your pancakes rise and fluffy, you could taste that bitterness. So oftentimes pancakes were made without it, and so therefore pancakes back in the oldie-timey days were quite thin, so not quite like crepes, but most certainly flat little pancakes. And she says here, if you have no eggs or wish to save them, use above ingredients and supply the place of eggs by 2 or 3 tablespoons of lively emptyings. So what that is the part of the beer making process. All of the sediment that falls to the bottom of the cask in the beer was used, some of it was used to make a sourdough starter essentially, so to raise up the bread. And she says that if you use that, then you have to wait 5 or 6 hours before you can cook them, because they needed to make their way, the yeast needed to make their way into the batter so that the batter could be fluffy. So there you are. So let's get started with this quick pancake recipe with some flour. 2 cups of flour, again, all-purpose flour. And to this, I'm going to add, again, 2 tablespoons of sugar or any sweetener that you prefer. And I've got in my little cup here a half a teaspoon of salt and then 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And we'll just give this a little stir around so that we can incorporate the baking soda better. Now, pearl ash was kind of like the grandmother of baking soda, which is derived from wood ash, actually. There you are. So what else do we need? We've got 1.5 cups of milk of any choice. We've got, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of oil or butter. I've added an extra tablespoon because I'm not going to add an egg to it. You can add an egg to it if you wish, but the egg will provide not only a little bit of structure, but a little bit of richness, and so that's why I added the extra oil. But you know, this pancakes are very flexible. We don't have to be afraid of pancakes or doing whatever the hey we want. So this is our sourdough starter. It's just a scant cup, and we'll throw that in as well. Look at it. Very excited. Okay. Awesome. And I think that's all. That's all the things. So we're just gonna stir this up, mix it up pretty well, and then cook them. You know how to make pancakes. Hey, we're at the stove. I wasn't gonna bring you here, but I just wanted to give you a few tips on this batter. As I was working with it, I noticed a few things. So my batter was a bit on the thick side, so I just thinned it out with adding a little bit of water. You can use the milk if you have it. And the texture of these and the taste is a lot more similar to the regular pancakes that we're used to seeing. So same in appearance as well. So yeah, it's just a really nice, versatile recipe and a good way to use up your sourdough starter if you don't have time to make bread or anything kind of a bigger than that. So there you are. Hope to catch you at the next recipe. Take care.